So
And I can't not give all glory to God. I
yeah,
see, I have my healthy children here. I was given the beautiful gift of a relationship and of a love that knocked my socks off. That's how God designed it. No doubt in my mind, knocked my socks off, but also is showing me where he wants me to be next.
yeah,
And, to just be aware of there are gifts sprinkled all around for us.
every
It's
day.
up to us to see them, right?
That's right.
It's
Exactly.
up to us to recognize that.
Yes,
So, and it's a beautiful life.
it is.
I often have, or especially I shouldn't say often now. Back in the day when the kids were young, I used to have people all the time say, "You must hate Mother's Day." Because here, brain hemorrhage, almost lose
Oh,
my newborn, then cancer. You must
yeah.
hate Mother's Day. And I remember even then, I mean, this would have been 2007. So whatever
Mhm.
that math is, 2008.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, no, God
Yeah.
chose me to be the mom to these
Yeah.
children,
Yes.
and he chose me to walk through this. And yeah, there were some days I was holding on,
Yeah.
uh you know through strength and guidance and all the things, but no, I don't hate Mother's Day. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
was given the beautiful gift of these children.
Yes.
uh
Absolutely. Yes.
so yeah,
Yeah.
so that perspective,
Perspective.
right?
Yes. It's
Perspective.
perspective. And that's different times I've gone through in my life and challenges that we've had. It's like I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, but I wouldn't trade it for the world because of
Isn't that the
all
truth?
the truth
Yes.
and all the lessons that I've learned from it have helped to shape my life into what it is today,
Yes.
and it is
Wow.
richer because of it.
Right. Well, and look at what you're doing because of it. And
By the
that's
grace of
where,
God.
uh, that's where I struggled as a mom saying, I didn't, I wouldn't want to wish the cancer away. I wish I could have carried it instead of Luke.
Yes,
But how we grew as a family and what we learned and where we put our importance and our values, I
yes,
wouldn't change that for the world. I wish I could have carried his pain, of
yes,
course. Uh,
yes,
but again, it's not, and you wouldn't wish it upon anybody.
no,
But what a gift it was. And that,
yes.
that's a, that, I know it sounds a little crazy.
No, I
Uh,
totally get it, totally
but
agree.
yeah,
Yes,
I couldn't imagine where our life would be or what
right,
I would be doing if we didn't have those experiences. And
yes,
that, yeah, I'm thankful and grateful. I
yes,
love seeing the blessings. I remember actually calling my pastor from where I used to live when Luke was diagnosed. His son had also been diagnosed with cancer, and
wow,
unfortunately they lost him. And I remember literally pulling over on the interstate, calling him his first 12 hours. And I remember he said, "You are about to embark on one of the most difficult things of your lifetime. The blessings are going to blow you away that are going to walk hand in hand with you." And I so remember that because I couldn't and shouldn't have been driving at that point. I was so distraught and
yes,
unraveled as any parent would expect to be. But I remember hearing him say, "The blessings you are about to receive because of this are so beautiful," and he was
yes,
right. uh
absolutely.
so
It's what
just
you
having the
focus on.
wherewithal to see, and to find them and hold on to them,
Yes.
right?
Yes, absolutely, and to recognize them, and I
Hmm.
I keep I'm reminded often about how important it is to have gratitude every day, every day, every day, every day. In fact, I have a 5-year gratitude journal that we'll have
Yes,
at the Metamorphosis
I
retreat,
love that.
and I'm so excited about it because it's not only to put down your gratitude and prayer for the day, but also it's 5 years. So every day on that date, you'll go back and see
Mm,
what you prayed the year previous or
I
the
love
years
that.
previous, and you'll
Right.
recognize answered prayers because I think so many times
Mm,
prayers go answered and we maybe don't recognize
Mm.
their answer as much as we recognize the need at the beginning, right?
Right.
Because it's the
Yes.
desperation, and then once everything's resolved,
Right.
we're kinda, "Ah, okay, now
Right.
we can do this," and I think this 5-year gratitude and prayer journal is so important because to remind ourselves daily to give
Yes.
gratitude and thankfulness for whatever. It can be very minute thing, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
But to focus on the gratitude, and I think that will help us grow as
Yes.
well.
Well, and isn't I mean, that falls under that whole umbrella of just awareness,
Yes.
aware acknowledging, welcoming in the suck,
Yes,
but
yes.
also, seeing the beauty that, that is there to lift you up during it too, because, to get out of this life without it, uh,
Not
is
gonna
near
happen.
impossible, right?
Yes, yes.
Uh,
It's just that
near
doesn't
impossible. And I'll tell you a lot of with this grief that I've walked through this last year, I I often found myself, how do people do this? Because it was so painstaking, truly painstaking, that
yes,
broken heart that you could feel. And I remember thinking, how do people do this? Because I leaned in and I leaned in hard.
yes.
And a real good friend in the very beginning days told me, again, one of those things I won't ever forget. She said, Vicky, do the work now with your grief. Feel
Yes,
it, embrace it, sit with it
yes,
so you can come back whole to
yes.
us.
Truth,
And
truth.
I so held on to that because it was so big that I wanted to not feel it, to not, yeah, it scared me, to be perfectly honest. It was a scary emotion that I had never experienced. Yet I kept hearing her words, and we want you to come back whole.
Mm,
And I that stuck with me because it was so scary, that space, that I thought, I don't want to even be carrying a fraction of what this feels like, because I
yes.
don't think I will be able to re-enter life otherwise. So some may say I took it a little too seriously, or fell into it too deeply, but I embraced it, and it by far took take all those other things I told you about, and I haven't even told you about all of them, but that doesn't come close to the what I felt walking through this last year, right? And I know you fully understand. But I also wanted to hold on to that, come back to us whole.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling that in my whole, yeah, I'm working on it.
And whole
But
is
coming
whole
back
is
to
defined
us.
differently than what you probably thought it would be a year ago even, and
Oh, for sure,
what will
and
be a
I
year from now.
understand.
Yes, yeah,
Mhm, and I
and
understand life won't ever be the same,
that's correct.
but I'm learning how to carry it,
Yes,
and maybe that's
absolutely.
it.
Yes.
I'm learning how to carry it, and I love, and maybe it was even you that sent it to me, a graphic showing, people look at grief as this huge boulder, and that it over time it gets smaller, when in fact grief remains this huge boulder,
Yes,
but you begin to build your life around it.
it's absolutely
And
true. Yes.
yeah, and again, one of those things that impacted me, like, okay, because it's so big.
Yes.
It's so big. And yet I wanted to come back whole, and I'm working on building my life to carry that boulder.
Well, and in my opinion, and one of the ways that, I was able to move forward is the fact that
Mhm.
in order to honor my husband and to honor
Mhm.
God, I felt that was the way to go. And just like in your
Right.
circumstance, Mike would be the first one
Yes.
cheering you on and say, "Go for
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Go for it. What are you
Yes.
waiting on? Go forward. Do this. Do
Yes,
this." And my
for
parents would have been the
sure.
same way. He would have been my biggest
Mhm.
and loudest
Yes,
cheerleader along the way. And
for
I can
sure.
still hear him yelling me on, as we speak right now.
Absolutely.
And, but that's how we honor them in our relationship,
Mhm.
and how we honor God is just by moving forward, not by
Yes.
getting caught. And I
Mhm.
am truly not judging people who get caught
Mhm.
and get stuck in the process. They can't help it. It
Right.
just, it, Oh, but by the grace of God, you and I would have been the same place, right?
Absolutely.
And
Well, and
it
I think that's where we can be that person that extends a hand
yes,
and
yes,
that
and
person that
I
can
just
stand
want
in the gap.
yes,
Yes.
I want to make sure that people
Mhm.
understand, there is a no judgment
Oh,
zone here
you
at all, because it is just
well,
it
and to be honest, I think it is that those moments, and it looks different for all of us, of being stuck.
yes.
I was,
Oh, yes,
I
I was too.
every day I worked, my goal was to put my feet on the floor.
Yeah,
Shoes weren't even tied, but
yeah,
and that was a day that I could call a success.
yeah, yes.
And and so all of us at some point work through that, but
Yes,
for those that are in there now, because again, I can I can identify which days
yes,
I was, look for that hand that's being
yes,
extended to you, because it's just even taking that smallest of step
yes,
um, forward. Again, whether it's grief or whether you're facing an illness with your
right,
child,
right,
or whether you're in an ongoing chronic
yes,
situation where it's not going to change.
yes,
What are those steps we can take to find support, to
mhm,
love ourselves through
mhm,
it, even when we might be hard to love.
yes, yes,
To find the support, to find that person, whether it's a stranger or a friend.
right,
I always say, man, God puts people in our life and in our
yes,
path. And how many times I think, have I missed somebody
yes,
because uh, I was inward, but I wasn't coming out to
yes,
see,
yes,
so,
I get it.
so just being open to knowing that's for all of us.
That's right, and it doesn't mean that we're not stuck now. I continue to get
Mhm.
stuck, and sometimes I'll have a
Mhm.
week or a month that I'm stuck, and but I feel like
Mhm.
now I have tools to get out of it. Doesn't mean I come out instantly, but I am
Mhm.
aware, that I'm stuck. And being aware
Mhm.
that you're stuck to start with, and then being able
Right.
to do the things that you need to do in order to get yourself
Mhm.
unstuck or to seek help to get those tools
Yes,
to help you get unstuck. Eh,
for sure.
I figured that I'll continue to be stuck moving forward here, there, and yonder because I
Yeah.
continue to push myself into
Mhm.
places that are not comfortable and not familiar,
Right.
and I don't know
Yes.
all the ropes, and I get overwhelmed, and I
Right.
get beaten down, and it's like, "Who do you think you are that you can do this?" I don't have the answers. I don't
Mm-mm.
have any of the answers, but I know who
Right.
does. And,
Yes.
it's just the connection there
Mhm.
and to make it, just a very, real, authentic, raw,
Mhm.
event that we can come together and share these stories and like on the
Yes.
podcast, with you just
Mm.
sharing your heart. If I may ask a couple questions?
Of course.
Okay. So I know there's been so much that's happened, since you lost Mike.
Mhm.
First of all, let's just share what happened right before Mike passed. What was it that you did? Was it a
Uh,
week and a half or 2 weeks before?
2 days before.
2 days, okay. I
Yeah.
couldn't remember the time on that. Okay. 2
Yes.
days before.
We had embarked on Scenic Shores. It's called Scenic Shores 150. It is a bike ride up Lake Michigan, up the shoreline, starting in Wisconsin, landing in, I'm pretty sure we were in Canada. He kept telling me we aren't in Canada, we're just in Sturgeon Bay. But it's a 150-mile bike ride over 2 days. It supports the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And so a year ago, 2 years ago now, uh, I had asked him to do that ride with me. And my family had been involved with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, now called Blood Cancer United, by the way,
Okay,
um, with events all through Luke's treatment and beyond. That was our way our family could pay it forward.
right.
And typically, many of the things we did were endurance events, running events,
Sure.
triathlons, you name it.
Uh-huh.
And I was introduced to this ride in Wisconsin, Scenic Shores 150, and he eagerly raised his hand and said, "Let's do it." And I was so excited for him to experience this ride because, in full fashion from LLS, Blood Cancer United, they are just so supportive of, events like this and the work people do. These events raise literally millions of dollars to pay it forward in the world of blood cancer. And so he and I had just ridden scenic shores at the time of our lives. We were on such a high of doing something really hard. He was more trained than I was. I will always pay that. Pay that. He had had quite a health journey, and this was a huge accomplishment for him to take on. And he did it like a champion. And we truly laughed and maybe cried a little bit because it was hard,
Yeah.
but had an incredible time moving the needle in the world of blood cancer. So that's what we're doing 2 years ago, July.
Mhm.
And then we got home from that early morning Monday. We didn't calculate having to drive all the way back the day of the ride. Got home early, and then he passed away from a sudden heart attack on Wednesday. Yeah. And it was, I will look back on that ride, and it was the most magnificent of times. And it was such a gift for me to be able to do that with him. And he was so accomplished, and as he should, because he worked hard to train for it, to be prepared for it, and he crushed it.
Yeah.
So it was pretty special. It was pretty
Ah,
special.
I love
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
So, I know how devastating that was.
Hmm.
Um, I know it just rocked your world in ways that you didn't even know could happen. Would
Sure.
that be fair?
There.
What going through your process of healing from that,
Hmm.
what is the pivotal point for you? Can you look back and see a point where you feel that you see a ray of sunshine at the other end?
Mm. Wow, that's a loaded question. I definitely feel a ray of sunshine. That's how God created me to be. That's what He loved about me. Uh, Pivotal point as to when I felt that transition of hope,
Mhm.
perhaps.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. Yes.
Yeah, transition of hope. I would say, as the Vicky Lynn Speaking Collective and Rooted Within Wellness has come to formation,
Uh-huh.
I see my purpose in life
Perfect.
again. I
Yes.
see how God's using me.
Mhm.
So definitely rays of hope with that. But to be honest, and those all started formulating last spring.
Uh-huh.
But even before then, I felt as though I had such an inner peace throughout the heaviness of grief. And,
Yeah.
I would say, and often people will refer to this also, that I feel so lucky that I was able to carry that level of grief in one hand, but feel such beautiful peace in the other, of
Yes.
knowing where I knew Mike is,
Right.
and, and all the glory that comes with that, right? But I was just blanketed with such peace in the darkest of my times.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
So hard. It was hard to be able to pinpoint how you
Mhm.
can hold both. But
Yes.
and I consider myself so blessed that I was able to find both to hold,
Yes.
because it was that beauty that pulled me through those. And
Yes.
again, I don't need to tell you or anybody walking through this. And again, the one thing I always feel is so important to say is we all have our stories, and
Yes.
none of
Absolutely.
them are more tragic or better or worse. There are stories.
Yes.
So whatever your story may be to you, it just, I always say, own it, right? Hold it
Yes.
tight,
Yes.
and nurture yourself and look for those glimmers of
Yes.
hope, because they don't always show up with this as
No.
this big glaring
It's not a
y-
rainbow.
no,
It's not
it
something,
is
it's
no
just the
rainbow.
little glimmers. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think, many times I say, I miss my husband like heck.
mm,
I mean, I just miss him so
for
much,
sure.
but I
Yes.
wouldn't pray him back for anything. He's in the face
Yeah.
of Jesus,
Oh,
and
yeah,
I
amen.
mean, why, how selfish that would be.
Yeah,
I'm just a little bit jealous, I have
right.
to say. I want to
Yeah.
be in the face of
Yes.
Jesus as well,
Yes.
and, I
Yeah.
so
Mm,
I
mm,
have never had, like, a resentment, I guess I would call it,
mhm.
just that pure inner joy and peace knowing that he's
Right.
with
Yes.
Jesus, that I
Yes.
still had
Mm,
that joy, and many
mhm.
times I just have a big smile because I just visualize him
Amen. Yeah.
being with Jesus, and I'm
Yes.
sure that was a little confusing to some people, but, uh, yes, totally miss
Well,
him.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And don't you think, for yourself, and I know I try to practice this walking forward, is, no judgment, right?
yes,
No judgment in how you
no,
need to do this,
yep,
and or needing to explain how
yes,
you're doing it. We all will walk through it as we need, and
yes,
and to wait quietly for somebody maybe in the wings, as that
yes,
support, as you were to me. I know you
yes,
stayed close, yet, you know, we all find our way to
yes,
do this. And sometimes it may not make sense, and
yeah,
sometimes it may, be different, but just giving yourself that grace
true,
of just doing what you need to do, right? Because there is no right or wrong way. How many times people told me that there is no right or wrong way. And then again, I use this, interchangeably, whether it's grief or facing a challenging time in your life or divorce or, you know, but just being able to nurture yourself and give yourself grace and
yes,
celebrate the wins. And it might just be putting your feet on the floor, and that's
yeah,
okay. Celebrate it. I will tell you, I went back and I rode that scenic shores this year,
yes,
and uh
what a
it was
victory.
something. Oh my goodness. Yeah, talk about victories and talk about all the emotions, right?
Yes,
It was something that after Mike and I finished the ride, we said we are doing that every year. We're going to do it smarter in some ways because
yeah.
we definitely had some rookie mistakes. But we were giddy as we were driving home, calling all of our
Yes,
families and
yeah,
talking to the parents, and we were truly giddy,
love it. Yes,
and made a promise to one another that we will ride that every year.
yes,
And so this year, I thought, well, I'm keeping true to my promise,
yeah,
and I went back on my bike, and I'll be the first to say I was not prepared training wise, and I don't say that in a bragatory way, but I tried to train. I got on my bike maybe 3 or 4 times, and to be honest, it was just too hard.
yeah,
It was, as I describe it was like driving your car without a seatbelt.
mhm,
It was what he and I did together.
yeah,
And the first few times, it's like I kept checking, is my helmet on or because I felt so naked. So I wasn't well prepared from a training stance. So I knew, okay, we're just gonna buckle up. And at the opening, we had an opening ceremony. They were moving us out because a storm was coming. And I remember the emotions were so intense.
mm,
My kids all came,
mhm,
I had this huge cheering section of my family who didn't want me to be alone.
yeah.
And boy, did they work hard. I think I got the easy part, pedaling. Uh, remember I took off my helmet and one of my
Yeah,
kids was there and I said, I can't do this because the emotion was so intense. So as you and I were talking, here I am almost a year out,
yeah,
and I buckled, and fear took a hold.
yeah,
I took off my helmet and I said, "I can't do this," and I was getting off my bike, and she slapped that helmet back on and buckled me up, and she's like, "Yes, you can,"
I
and
love it.
literally pushed me out of the
Yes.
starting gate, and I will say the first 20, 25 miles was super sloppy. It was raining, I was cold, I was not trained, and I missed him terribly,
Ah,
and and it was messy. And then I started finding my groove, and, all glory to God, right? Because
right.
into that first rest stop and all my kids were there, my puppy,
Ah,
and and you can see it's so funny to look at the pictures because you see these pictures of me pulling out, and I looked like a deer caught in headlights. I was terrified, and then by mile 25, I'm like, "Okay, I'm feeling the strength from above, and I can I can do this through all things, right? Christ
right.
is the strength." And then I had then I had another 125 miles to figure out the rest of it. But it was the only way I can describe it after was it was the most difficult thing I have done and the most beautiful thing I have done all wrapped up in one in a nice little package.
It can be the same.
Yes,
Yes.
and it was, and Mike clearly was so present with me, and God was pointing me in all the right directions because I wasn't prepared
Yeah.
physically,
Yeah.
emotionally, to be honest. And I have made a promise that God willing, I'll be on that bike every year in Mike's honor and memory,
Yes.
and for all of those who cannot ride.
Yeah.
Uh, and it was a special, special weekend.
Sorry, my nose thought I was eating soup, apparently.
Oh,
Uh,
like yeah,
right, exactly. I did not blow my nose on the air here. A little tacky. Yeah, it's just a reminder that we can't we can't do it.
mhm,
And we're not asked to do it or
mhm,
expected to do it, but God can, and with his help, we can.
yes, yes,
And, that's sorry.
no, you're good. Well, and to to be in the place where you're open and willing to accept help,
Yes, that's
and
so
then
hard.
to be in the place where we can extend the hand,
Yes, both ways, yeah.
both ways, because that's how we're designed. And again, I'm just in such a space of give yourself time because that's where I have found my healing.
That's right. But you left out one part, help others to pass it on, but how about the receiving part?
Mhm. Oh, yes.
That's that's where the rubber hits the road in my life.
Mhm.
I don't receive well. I'm getting better at that because I've been given more opportunities to do that.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
it's not easy to do that either many times, but we can't cheat other people out of blessings, we
Right.
need to
Yeah.
be open, to receive as well.
I had a friend way back in the beginning days of Luke's diagnosis. And again, I'm gonna keep talking while you're gone.
Yes.
I can like this go back to
Yeah.
sitting in a shared hospital room at Riley Hospital.
Mhm.
It doesn't take me long to put myself back because I've kept it alive
Yes.
in a healthy way. But
Yes.
I was a mom of five who, man, I had it like this going. So getting help from people was hard for me. And I remember early on, a friend said to me, "Don't block the blessing." I
Yes.
went, "Whoa, don't
Mhm.
block the blessing," right?
Mhm.
Because often we're at one end or we're at the other end.
Mhm.
Uh, and again, to be able to close your eyes and know what it's like to be in that position, yet also to be in the position to
Yes.
give to others, to be a
Yes.
light, to be a resource, to be
Yes.
a sign of hope, of getting through some hard stuff.
Mhm.
And again, I just gave you a snippet. There
Yes.
there's the rest of the story too.
Right?
Be
Exactly.
another
Yes.
podcast, right? But
Uh,
to learn as we
yes.
go through them, so we come back stronger and wiser and equipped, to do it again. And,
Yes.
I thought with Luke, I thought my faith was pretty grounded, and boy, have I learned just how much it continues to
Yeah,
expand. Uh,
yeah.
so to be open and willing to just see what special things are in the line to help carry you through the hard.
Mhm. You know, there's been a mantra that I've had throughout my life since early on in our marriage. Actually, my husband had blood clots in both of his lungs and honestly should have died. They expected him to die. And our kids were 5, 6, and 7-ish. And that was a really hard time. Learned a lot from that, which propelled me forward in my life and shaped my life and how I would move forward. In many and various ways, which I absolutely loved. And there was a reason I was telling you about this. Yeah, it just kind of went over my head. Yeah, I will we'll
Lesson. Yep.
yeah, we'll
Just
we'll
so many
edge that out.
so many life lessons that
Right, right, right.
no, yeah. And raise our hands to, you know, trusting. I've
Yes,
always felt it's really easy to trust when life is humming along beautifully, isn't it?
right.
But where the work comes on our part is trusting when we can't see what's to come or we don't know our steps. And that whole piece of surrender has been very relevant to me this last year because I felt in the beginning like I needed to explain surrender. Like, no, this isn't giving up, waving a white flag.
Mm, yeah,
Surrender is actually very active.
yes.
It's truly releasing that control piece to what we don't always understand, but trusting that
Mhm,
that we're going in a direction that we're meant to be, and to be okay not knowing exactly what it's going to look like or that it's not how we planned it or on our goal list of how it was supposed to fall together. But and it's something I practice every day. My personality, my DNA is wired to want to control, and
yeah.
so it's been a real walk to truly just learn to surrender, and when I do, these beautiful things are coming with it,
Yes,
rooted within wellness and opportunity to reach and connect parents that need extra help and support, new relationships.
yes,
There's just so much beauty when we release that control.
yes, absolutely. I love it. Well, my dear,
Woo! Hot.
it's so funny. I had someone ask me the other day, "Oh, you did a podcast. Oh, great." And I said, "Yeah, actually I did too that day." And I said, "I'm just totally exhausted." And they're like, "What? You just sat and talked to somebody. How can you be exhausted?" It's like, you
Mhm.
have no idea.
There's a lot of charge, a lot of
Yes.
emotional charge.
Well, and also I want to be the best that I can be at this as well. I feel like God has also called me to this. I
Yeah.
love to ask people questions. I love to
Mm.
find out how they get through life and life opportunities and uh, to hear stories because I feel like we learn so much from one another, and that's why we're given these opportunities is to share them with one another so that we can
Yes.
give someone a
Learning.
helping hand, right? And
Yes. Keep
so,
learning, keep growing.
yes.
Seeing what's next. What's up
Yes,
next? The
exactly,
deep
right.
breaths when we can.
That's right, exactly, and I kept my head above waters, and there's been times I've had both my
Oh.
arms up going, "Hey, over here," and,
Life raft.
yeah, and then there's other times my arms have been underwater, and I would kind of feel like I'm going blub, 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 blub,
Yep.
blub, quickly.
And all normal, right? All
And it
normal.
may be the same day, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. From noon to dinner time.
Right, exactly.
Yep,
I love it.
just hold it all tight. Hold it all tight.
Exactly. Well, my dear, thank you, my friend, for sharing
Ah, such a
today.
gift.
I can't look for can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to the retreat and to hear your presentation, but to also reconnect with you again and let's get an
Uh,
update on where you're
ab
going and what is
yes,
happening and where things are moving for you because That is so daggone exciting. I'm so
Thank you.
excited for you and
It
how
feels
God's
right.
blessing you and
Uh,
blessing us in the process. I love it. So
Thank you.
cool. Yeah.
Yes, yes, he is good
Yes, all the time.
all the time. Thank you
He's
so
good.
much.
You're
Such a
welcome.
gift.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye-bye.